Welcome to Garden Delights. I'm Susan Howington, Family Consumer Science Agent with the Henry County Cooperative Extension, partnership with the University of Georgia Cooperative Extension. Today we're going to be talking about zucchini, and you're going to hear from Frank Hancock, our Agriculture and Natural Resource Agent. He's going to tell you how to get those tomatoes ready for your garden. So we'll see you back in just a little bit on Garden Delights. Welcome back to Garden Delights. Today we're going to be talking about some zucchini, and zucchini is one of my things that I like to eat as far as those vegetables go. You know, wonderful if you can keep that skin on, because you're going to get all that fiber from that zucchini. It is cholesterol free, saturated, and fat free, low in sodium, very, very good in that fiber, potassium, and so you can see got to put that zucchini in your diet sometime during the week. And when it's coming in, it's going to be coming in pretty fast. And so you're going to have to select that zucchini. And when you select that zucchini, even if you're purchasing it at the grocery store, look for shiny. Look for anything that looks like a bruise or a bump, because if you do, it's very soft. So the zucchini can bruise very easily. So you're going to look for something shiny. You're going to also touch it if you can at the grocery store. You're going to feel it. You want to make sure it's firm, because it also tells you it's in good shape to use also. And then you're going to, same way when you're looking in your garden, to pick that zucchini. You want it to be fairly mature. And I will tell you this, the smaller they are, the flavor, you're going to get more of that flavor of what you want in that zucchini. So I'm looking for usually those size right there. Now, if you want to go larger, that's fine. But you may want to stuff that zucchini. If you do, then you probably want a larger zucchini than this right here. But this is a perfect size for what we're going to be making with that zucchini bread later. So look for something like this, shiny, firm. Look at the stem too. Make sure it's good and green, because that tells you you're purchasing something fresh from that grocery store. And also, like I always say, buy it in peak season. So look for it also when the best prices are out there. Now, storage, your zucchini will store about 4 to 5 days in that refrigerator, and it's best if you can to put it in a Ziploc bag, because it will store a little bit longer that way too. And so if you don't know though, in 4 to 5 days what you're going to do with that zucchini, zucchini can be frozen also, so it will freeze, prolong in that freezer, so you can come back out with it and decide what you do want to bake with it or make with it or stir fry with it. And I will tell you, zucchini flowers on the flower when they're blooming, those little flowers are edible also. So it's a lot of good things off that zucchini that you can eat. So when we come back, we're going to hear from Frank, and he's going to be telling you how to plan that garden, how to get that garden site really ready for those tomatoes, and I can't wait to see what he's done. So we'll see you back in just a little bit on Garden Delights.
Okay, today we're getting ready to get into our spring garden. It's not quite time, it's a little bit cold out here today, but I want to talk a little bit about our tomatoes, and we try to take things to apply them to what a homeowner can do. And in this particular case, we've planted some ryegrass and some hairy vetch as a cover crop where we're going to plant our tomatoes. And we're going to take this down and plant the tomatoes right in it. We're not going to till this up after we cut it down. We're going to plant the tomatoes in it. Research shows that tomatoes do very well in a rye hairy vetch mix. And so I haven't done that before, so we're going to find out together here how this works out. The biggest thing about the cover crop and trying to get your crop started early is you've got to terminate the cover crop. Now, a lot of people will terminate cover crops. They'll spray it with Roundup and then they'll cut it down, or they'll wait till it's time in the season. This stuff's going to die out here sometime in May, but our tomatoes are going to get planted a lot sooner than that. So so we got to get this terminated, and because we don't use any chemicals in this little garden spot right here at all, we'll see what we got to do. But it may be too early, and it's probably going to try to grow back. And in that case, we're going to cover it up with some weed barrier cloth and just try to kill it out before we plant our tomatoes. So I'm playing that by ear right now, but I'm trying to adapt this to a homeowner, what a homeowner can do in this situation. They make roller crimpers that crimp this stuff down. The problem with the roller crimper is the homeowner doesn't have one of them to start with, and the other thing is they won't terminate this cover crop this early in the season. It'll try to grow back. So we'll work our way through that as we go along. Hairy vetch and rye has some allelopathic characteristics that don't allow weeds to grow where it's growing. So, you know, if you look at this patch, you'll see weeds growing all around the outside here, but you don't see any weeds in here. There's a few blooms in here, but that's hairy vetch blooming. But I'm talking about things like these weeds right here that are, but they're only around the outskirts. So we're getting some weed control here. We're going to get some mulch out of it. We're going to control our moisture. We're getting some nitrogen out of this hairy vetch because it's a legume. So the situation is right here for us to grow a good crop of tomatoes and not till this up. Just use this as a cover crop, as mulch, as we terminate it. So what we're going to do right now is get the trimmer. We're going to cut this down with a trimmer, and we're going to just leave it laying here, and then we'll observe it as it dies out and see if we need to do anything else to get it terminated good before we plant our tomatoes. I've got one of our master gardeners here, Luke Evans. He's volunteered to do a little bit of work here today, so he's going to step in here as my double here while we cut this grass down. Okay, so now we've got this cover crop cut down, and we're going to plant our tomatoes right in it here. So we've got, if I move back over here a little bit, you can see we've got a pretty good layer of mulch here that's on the ground that we'll plant right into. I'll take my tomato cages and we'll lay out our row of tomatoes down through here, and we'll just dig a hole and plant our tomato plants in here, and we'll see what happens. We'll be coming back out here as the season goes on and evaluate what we're doing. Right now we're going to go back inside and see what Susan is fixing.
Welcome back to Garden Delights. I hope you saw Frank out and you figured out now it's time for you to start those tomatoes and get them ready out in that garden, because it's time right now. We're going to be making zucchini bread, and so I've already have one zucchini already shredded, and I'm going to shred another one just to let you know that I also can tell you when I'm going to cut the end off. I've already washed my zucchini. That's very, very important that you wash your vegetables. So I'm going to cut both the ends off of the zucchini, and you can shred this however small you want to shred it, on the smaller side if you want to. But I will tell you, I like the larger shred because when you bake it, the zucchini, it is to me even better because you can see it. But when it shrinks up in that bread, you just can't beat it. So I'm just going to go ahead and shred the other one. And I will tell you, so you see the size right here. This is I say a medium-sized zucchini. So the other one was about this size also. And you need about 2 cups. And really, you probably could do a zucchini and a half, but I really want as many shreds of that zucchini in my bread as much as possible. And you can see it's such a soft vegetable. It shreds really nicely. And so I'm just going to get enough to get me about 2 cups. And that's all you're going to need. I don't want to push down too much. I don't want to squash my zucchini that's at the bottom. So I think that's about. And I'll tell you something else, be prepared when you're shredding. If you use one of these old-timey ways that I like to use, your zucchini will get there before you realize it. So you do want to make sure you don't get too close and nick one of your fingers while you're trying to shred it, because that will not feel good. I can tell you, I've done that before. So I'm just going to get a little bit of this off the shred part of it just to make sure I have as much zucchini in there. And it smells really good. I can smell it. So I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to stick this down below since I am done with it. So we can just keep it out of the way. Now I need to wash my hands off a little bit so I won't have zucchinis all over it. Okay, so we're going to mix it up. And there's a couple of steps you have to do just to get it, but it's pretty simple as far as that goes. So I'm just going to, all right, so what I have here, this zucchini bread has 2 cups of whole wheat flour. So that's your 2 cups of whole wheat flour. And then it also has a 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. So we're going to go ahead and put that in. And then also, the other dry ingredients it has is 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. It has 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda and about 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. So those are already mixed together. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the dry mixture also. And it will tell you in the recipe to just kind of make sure you mix all that together. So what I want to try to do is get the whole wheat flour, the plain flour, and all the other ingredients that's dry, just incorporated inside the other flour, because I want to make sure when I bake it that I don't have one part of it on one side of that bread. We want that bread to look really good. So that looks really good. So we got about 2 cups and probably a little bit more, but that's okay. It'll be fine. This is 1 cup of raisins, so you're going to put 1 cup of raisins. But before we mix all this into it, the next step you're going to need, I'm going to move this over here just for a second. You're going to need 2 cups of sugar. And this is going to make 2 loaves of bread. So this is going to, one good thing is it's going to make 2 loaves of bread. This is a cup of canola oil. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that in. And then this is 4 eggs beaten, so we're going to add the eggs. And what we're going to do is we're going to trade out with the dry mixture and the zucchini and the egg and sugar and oil mixture. And then we'll end up adding the raisins at the very end. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to take this spoon and just kind of move this around. And I do it pretty carefully because if you don't, you'll have your oil all on the counter. So I'm going to kind of just mix it around a little bit. And this is kind of like going to keep everything together as far as that bread. It also is going to keep it moist, but what's going to really keep it moist is that zucchini. So I just want to mix this up pretty good. And it's going to tell you to beat the eggs, so you do want to beat your eggs separately before you put them into this container right here. So I'm just trying to get the oil, the eggs, and the sugar just kind of mixed in together. So when I start mixing it in with this, see if I can stir it just a little bit so it doesn't. All right. I think that's good enough. You just want to mix it in. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this part and we're going to pour it into a little bit at a time. I'm going to add just a little bit of this to the flour mixture. See how well I keep from making a mess. So I'm going to move this around, just kind of moisten that flour dry ingredients. And you can see it does moisten it, but it's not totally moistened. You know, as I add, it'll get even moistened as we go. So I'm just going to kind of do that. And now what I'm going to do is add about a little bit of, maybe, I don't know, about a cup of it, maybe, something like that, of the zucchini. So you want to add just a little bit of that. And it likes to stick to your fingers, I will tell you that. So what we're going to do is move this into the dry mixture also, because you don't want your zucchini all in the one side of that bread too. So what we're trying to do is get a little bit of flour on that zucchini. So I'm just moving it around, just kind of mixing it. And then so once I kind of get it to another stage where I see the moisture coming through, I'm going to add some more of this mixture. So I'll add just a little bit more of this. And I'm not going to add all of it. I'm going to do one more batch. Going to move it around, just get it mixed. And the good thing about the bread, you don't have to use a mixer. You can, but I think it's best if you just use some kind of stirring spoon, just kind of mix it up. And you do want all your flour moistened before it's all said and done. So as you can see, it's getting there. So I'm going to add now some more zucchini, and I'm going to add the rest of that mixture. All right, have that. See if I can stack this one inside here. So I'm going to go ahead and add this. I'm going to get all that out. All right, see if I can do some stacking here. All right, so we have everything in it, and so I'm just going to keep stirring till I have it really well mixed, because that's what you're trying to do. And you know, zucchini is really low in fat too, as far as the calories go. About a cup of zucchini is about 20 calories, so you can eat a lot of zucchini. And one thing good about zucchini and other squashes too, you can eat it raw. You don't have to have it cooked. So you can eat it raw, you can stir fry it, you can bake it, you can put it in cakes, you can put it in breads like I'm doing. And to me, it kind of makes you feel good because you're eating some kind of vegetable in with that bread that you're going to be eating. So you can see this is becoming really, really moist. So this is what I'm doing. I'm just kind of turning it from the bottom up because I do want to make sure all that flour is mixed in. It's not stuck at the bottom. So your last thing that you want to incorporate in is that cup of raisins. And that's going to make it also moist too and keep it moist. And I will tell you, this freezes really, really good too. So if you make one loaf and you feel like you want to freeze it, it comes back out of that freezer really, really well. Now the last thing I'm going to do, it's going to tell you in the recipe, is to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So I'm going to do that right now before I forget. So let's add that 1 teaspoon. All right. And to me, you just can't bake anything to me without a little bit of vanilla. So I'm going to stir that around. And so once you have it stirred around, and you do want your raisins, not in one place either, so I'm going to make sure I stir it around good so I have those raisins. And this already smells good. And if it didn't have eggs in it, I'd probably stick my fingers in it. But I know that I don't need to do that. So, all right, so that's about what you're looking for. Let me move this over to here, and I'm going to show you how well it fits in. See if I can stack some of this too over to here. So my pans, I already have those sprayed, and so it's going to take 2 loaf pans, so you're looking for that. And so I just kind of eye it as far as pouring it in there. I'm going to pour just a little bit into one, kind of eye it. See if I can cut it off before it dips too much and go to the next one. I'm going to fill it up, kind of eye it. And what I usually do is kind of push it out in the pan to kind of get an eye of which one looks like it may need a little bit more. And also just by doing that too, it kind of releases some of the air bubbles that are in that and kind of keeps it from having big tunnels while you're baking. So I'm going to get a little bit more because I do want all this out of this bowl if I can get all of it. So this is about even. See if I can get just a little bit more. All right, so easy to do, and it tastes so good. So as you can see, it does really well in the pan. It's these are about even. Sometimes I'll even kind of tap them on the ground, on the counter, just to make sure I've got it all spread out, because you do want it kind of in the corners too. So you're going to put your zucchini in the oven. You're going to bake it at 350. The recipe is going to tell you about 55 minutes. Depending on your oven, you need to check it maybe in 50 minutes just to see. And the best way to check it is about 50, 55 between those times. Take you a toothpick or something you do like to test your cakes with, just to make sure the center of that zucchini bread is done. And you know when it comes out, the toothpick comes out clean, it's done. Don't over bake it. It is very moist, it tastes really good. So we'll see you back in just a little bit on Garden of Lights. Welcome back to Garden of Lights. Frank, I know you're getting that garden ready, but I had to bake some zucchini bread because, you know, you just got to have some vegetables right now.
Well, I was just thinking that we needed some zucchini bread.
Well.
And we are getting our tomatoes ready again. You know.
I'm excited.
I was thinking about it. We've been doing this show for quite a few years, and we've been getting those tomatoes ready every year.
Every year, and I'm looking forward to it.
Every year we try something a little bit different, so we don't just do the same thing every year.
That's right, and I'm looking forward to the varieties you're going to put out there too. Do you want a small piece or a large piece?
Oh, medium size.
Is that good?
Fine. Yep.
You want an end, or you don't want the end?
The end to be good.
I love the end.
Well, you can have the end.
No, I'll let you
want.
have it.
I mean, I don't want to cause any trouble.
Oh, it looks so good. It smells good.
And we don't even need a fork.
I know. And you know what I like to do with this is even toast it, you know, and try not to feel guilty and put just a little bit of margarine on it.
That could be toasted.
That could be toasted for sure. That is really, really good.
A little butter.
Mm-hmm. It's super moist. And also, in the recipe, it's going to tell you optional if you want to. You can put walnuts in it, but I chose not to put any nuts in it. But you could put nuts if you like pecans or walnuts, whatever you would like. You can put those in there also. But I just wanted to make it without any nuts in it. So I think it's really good. I think the raisins really add to it also.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I wouldn't have minded if you put nuts in it, but...
Next time. That's good. I like the cinnamon too. Just a little hint. Check out the website. You're going to love the zucchini bread. And I know you're going to want to make it, because one thing you can do is 2 loaves and you can freeze the other one for another time. So Frank and I will see you back another time on Garden of Lights.
It comes highly recommended too.